Alex Hanser here. It is November 19th in the year 2017. So, the question, would I ever live in a major U.S. city again? And the answer is yes, under the right conditions. I'm getting ready to travel because I have determined that it is good to take a vacation. It isn't healthy to stay in the same place, especially when change is what an individual needs. And for myself, I can't think of a recent time where I've had a decent vacation, where there wasn't a major sense of anxiety about where I was going and coming out of, like a real sense of uncertainty. And I think I mentioned that in a recent video. So I really wanted to bring this up. This is probably one of the first moments. So I'm not going to stay in a hotel. I'm going to be sleeping on somebody's floor in the side of their bedroom. I'm going to be traveling on the cheap because I need some change. I need some change in my life, but very special thank you to those of you that chip into what it is that I do, that are making this holiday. It's like a scene out of a holiday movie, really. Planes, trains, and automobiles or something like that. But a very special thank you to those of you that have made this possible. Change from the same environment is what I have needed. Behind me is a laundry. I am going to be traveling light. Basically with the clothes on my back, it's not going to be a grab and go kit. It's not going to be a 72-hour kit. There's not going to be any MREs, I can promise you. There's not going to be any little patches of water. Basically, the essentials: clothes, microphone, webcam, computer, maybe another camera, a flashlight, a few other small things, a book, a journal, some pens, some pen lights for the ride there. So basically, I would, and there's a part of me that is exploring, I would live in a major U.S. city if I was connected with the right people. I'm going without expectations, but this would be the time and place for someone like me to meet the right people. Now, I have a shabby appearance. Hell, I cut my own hair. I haven't actually been to the actual barber shop. Perhaps that'll change pretty soon to even out a few things. But I've been living in a fairly unorthodox manner for some time. But I've also gotten the hang of it, of isolation, and then maintaining a YouTube channel on my own off the grid. But lately, I've been really, and I've been thinking about this for 12 months now. 12 months now, this has been in the thinking process. That sea elevation, for the first time in my life, overcoming this fear of California, that, maybe too much Hollywood. I'm not really sure. But obviously something definitely there in the psyche. Intense, because I'm a sensitive individual. There's a lot going on there. Now, that could be a really good thing in the right environment, on the right evening, to be sensitive and to be, I'm not trying to be weird here, but stimulated in the right way, consciously. We're talking as a writer, maybe even working with a filmmaker. Something about working on a film in LA makes sense, or a major U.S. city. There's probably a reason energetically, for those of you that have thought about this, why certain creative minds have done certain, other than just conspiracies and conspiracies upon conspiracies. Los Angeles is a place where many things are created and brought to life, so to speak, when it comes to media, entertainment, information, things of that nature. Are there some good people out there that I should be meeting, whether it be in Los Angeles, Seattle, Washington, Florida, New York City? Again, I leave it open. I don't see why not. I don't see why there shouldn't be other people waking up that have the means to start their own television network or news network that has the juice and the means to not even compete with Alex Jones, just literally walk right over that joke of an operation and actually show people what real alternative media, independent media, outside the box of the corporate lens. See, that's my dream. I have a dream because I know it's possible. I've already met people that have been self-interested, that have had the ability to fill their studios up or to put together a studio. They can have people putting out news and information. I also just want to again, experience positive things while there still is time to experience positive things, interesting conversations. Maybe there's some people that I'm going to end up interviewing, but I'm going on this trip without any major expectations. I'm not sending emails to certain people, certain executives. I'm not, I'm not even connected with Carrie Cassidy, but I know she's in the Los Angeles area. So are other individuals. So I'm not doing that. I'm not contacting other people. I think there's some weird individuals in Southern California that are on YouTube as well. And there's no point even getting into all that. But I think there's some cool people out there too. You know, it's just that I'm not so well known, I guess, out there in the world of entertainment, maybe in the alternative media. I think some people just kind of look over what it is that I do, some of the uniqueness where some of you see something in that. Some of the others that are more into like numbers and ego and like what your jacket looks like and how your haircut is done, and how your pants fit and things of that nature. It's a much more superficial world. So, I don't know how LA and San Diego and the rest of California is going to respond to Alex Hansry. What I do know is that I'm fascinated by the sun. I'm fascinated by the sun and the changes that it brings. And there sure is a lot of focus on the sun and people getting a certain energy from the sun in California. So maybe I'll meet other researchers along the road, if you will, or the information that I've already accrued might be able to be expanded there in some local project. And then again, maybe it's just about seeing the beach. Maybe it's just about getting away from my own, matrix, if you will, and having a nice Chinese dinner, or again, being in a situation where we're stuck in traffic and it's like, this is it. This is it. I haven't seen this since Dallas, Texas. This is it. That get me out of here type of vibe. Like all the better. All the better. Whatever helps in that reset as I come back here off the grid later and alone. Thank God. Thank God. No smart meters, no fluoridated water, no cell phone towers, no millions of people all around me, no smog. Alone. But see, we need change. We need change. We need to go out and change up our reality at times to appreciate what it is that we have. I look at elements of my environment here, and there's good and bad to an environment that doesn't change very much on a social level or on certain levels. There's a good to that. I could think of some good things to where, we don't like a whole lot of change. We don't like people coming up trying to change stuff up. And yeah, you know what I mean? Sure. The downside of that are certain communities that get very insulated and afraid of outsiders, people they recognize to not be locals or to be something else, something that they may fear because of the propaganda of this day and age. Unless you walk in the shoes of a human being that's experienced that, you don't know what it's like to be isolated for several years because of the politics. But I know, but I've always been a loner. But I know that things have turned in a certain direction since 2016. And I wonder, I wonder what these other places have turned into. And so there's positive and negative to every experience. And to be willing to travel, I remember having the faith in the Creator when I first went to Costilla County, and I talked about that, and that same presence and consciousness is in place now. And right now is more of a spirit of almost Tom Petty into the great wide open, under the skies of blue. It's nothing's going to stop us. Nothing's going to stop us now type of a moment. Of course, it's not the 80s, but if only it was. If there was a way, though, that I can manifest a reality to where I do live free and meet people along the way in the road of life despite the news. Right now, I'm staying away from the news. Maybe you've noticed. Because I don't want that to toxify my focus from manifesting something positive. Because I'm starting to notice a string of events that are positive that are happening to me in the course of the last few weeks. And even the support that's come in like this tail end of the year from a few different individuals. People join up at Patreon. A few dozen people at outsidethebox.vhx.tv. I think there's a lot of interesting video content waiting for me. That's why if you're in Southern California, find a way to send me an email. Don't rely on the comment section. But you can try. I'm also on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter. Will I go up the coast of California, see San Francisco, see some of these other places? It's something that I'm strongly considering. I did have a tooth issue. I want to talk about that briefly. Apple cider vinegar is what really seemed to have helped with the infection. Nothing needs to be pulled. I don't see how I would have to have a root canal. The dentist would likely recommend one of those two options. So I'm holding off on that type of a deal here in Colorado. Because again, I'm going with the wind. Sometimes something just changes in the universe, in our reality, where we just know at that moment that it's the time to fly. That's the time to do something, to change our location and just sit and bask in the new energy. To record my voice, whether it be doing podcasts, walking down the street, or recording a video with the flip cam or my Canon camera, which I'm going to get another battery. The battery's literally like falling apart. I'm going to have to tape it with electric tape just to keep that camera going, which reminds me, if I'm going to do that, I should also bring my shotgun mic in addition to this mic. So I have multiple recording options. Certain things I'm not going to bring that, a modern... See, listen, not only do I believe that certain geopolitical realities are heading our way in the future, I'm not convinced it's happening tomorrow. I know that people talk, and they talk, and they talk like this, like it's happening tomorrow, and there's that same guy, my same guy I reference on YouTube, now with 460,000 subscribers, and he's sitting there shaking. Something's going to happen by Thanksgiving. Something's going to happen, and I'm thinking to myself, letting this guy influence my thoughts for a second there. That would suck. That would suck to have something happen when I'm going to Southern California. But since this dude is wrong 95% of the time, whether he's predicting economic collapse or whether he's predicting, or what did predict, that Hillary would be the president, or other things, that he does. So just to let you guys know, with some of these provocateurs out here, where it's like most of what they say is bullcrap, sometimes when they're predicting that it's all going to come, that's when I'm like, we're good. No, seriously, we're good. If he's predicting the end, I can assure you we're good this holiday season, 2017, 2018. Doesn't mean the conspiracy has gone away. Doesn't mean certain issues haven't gone away, right? But reality is reality. They do have a long-term plan. Hey, maybe I'll be wrong, and we'll just be singing Kumbaya. And the new world order, right, once it goes online with Skynet and Singularity and AI, it'll just reach enlightenment, and we'll all be at peace. Wouldn't that be nice? So sure, I'll leave that option open to possibility, but really, do you really think that's what's in the cards? But see, am I going to live in paralysis mode now that I'm off the grid? Absolutely not. Going back to change, I look at my reality locally with very perceptive eyes, and I choose my words carefully when discussing this reality because I'm choosing to learn from past experiences. And what I can tell you that I've learned is that some of the healthier people keep moving in this world from place to place like a nomad. They don't remain stagnant. Change is good. So again, I'm thinking about riding from a different location, eating different food, drinking different water, which reminds me, though, I'm drinking that bottle of water. I'm not drinking that tap. Okay, I'm taking my chances with the gallon containers from Arrowhead and whatnot from Wally World. But to travel somewhere with that expectation, without ego, I'm Alex Ansary, I should be sitting down with Sean Stone. Well, I should. But am I going to go through a bunch of effort to reach those people? No. But will I put myself in a position to be contacted, so to speak? Yeah, I see myself literally in some of the hottest spots in Hollywood or LA with a number of coffee shops, of course the mall in San Diego, just a lot of people, just feeling this vibe. What is it about this area that so many people have been drawn here? So many different racial backgrounds. And it is a very diverse place, apparently, LA, a place I haven't been. It's a little too diverse for some people's tastes. It makes me very curious what all is there. There's things I appreciated about Portland's Chinatown and some of the unique neighborhoods and the creativity. that comes from human beings when they're in one place, and they're they're almost competing for space. But sometimes when they're doing that, the best ideas emerge in some cases, not just the greed, but creativity. Los Angeles is in a different part of the planet, or Southern California just in general. California, Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, that whole area, the West Coast artery. It's a different energy. I have theories about this artery. I've described the West Coast as a very, very chaotic place to be for those that are sensitive on a conscious level. I've described this with regards to the solar cycle. We're going to solar minimum, and the sun is fairly quiet at the moment, although we had some solar flares last week. To be there when things are quieter, when there's no riots, and it's the calm before the storm, if you will. Granted, we don't see an event from North Korea, but you got to admit, we've been inundated with fear and predictive programming for the EMP for a long, long time now. I even predicted this part of the programming to get to go to sleep for a few years. Well, they play up this Muppet show before the big event after the 2020s. So, do I put my money where my mouth is and show that I'm not terrified, right? To leave my comfort zone? Because you can live a life of adventure and relationships and ideas and doing things and philosophy and spirituality and still be into things like prepping and still be into things like being aware of current events. That's how I live. And in doing this, it's like I'm claiming part of my mind back. That part that is able to be happy, enjoy a meal, not just be looking at what's on the Google News Wire or whatever websites you go to. And I'm looking forward to bringing you different videos, talking just like this, maybe from the park, with this whole setup. How much would it have cost for me to do this 10 years ago, 20 years ago? 30 years ago? Was it possible 30 years? Well, 30 years ago was 1987. I don't know. Cellular One would probably have to be in on the deal. Okay, let's just go 7 years, 2007. It was back in 2005. I was spending like $400 at a pawn shop, for a decent camera when I went to Austin to interview Alex Jones and other people. And now that was the closest energetic, vibe to this moment now. At that time, probably had about $500 to spend, a little bit less than that in this case. Going to be playing it very, very frugally, but I got no rent to worry about. So there's going to be, periods of just coffee and like one meal a day, or maybe like one decent buffet going from place to place. For those of you that may choose to support me while I'm on the road in what I would consider my first real vacation from my first real spot, that would be awesome. And I'm probably going to be coming back like in the dead of winter, all the snow all around, and it's the holiday movie will continue. No, this is significant. This marks something, and all this seems to be occurring with my freedom from my former job, where I was posting news for someone's website, yet our politics were very, very different. So it was awkward, until just one day he decided, no, this can't happen anymore. This is not good for my brand, because he's a big Trump loyalist. And I would post things that I just believe were the truth, even stuff that's critical of Trump. So we went our separate ways a few months ago, but he was critical. He was a critical, and I've thanked him in person many times. And he even said God works through people for that job and opportunity as long as it existed. Now, things are freed up. My car is legal. My car is running again, and this was a long time coming. But yeah, comparing it to Austin, at that time I was visiting Freeman Fly. Just for those that don't know, that's one of my few travel stories, because I haven't really done a lot of enjoyable traveling. Never really had the money or finances or a place to stay open up. That's critical. A place to stay. That's not going to cost anything. We can just stay on the floor. And that's basically what I'm looking forward to, or a couch or something like that. And I've adjusted to that. I've adjusted to, okay, I'm going to pack less clothes this time, less stuff in my backpack. I'm going to enjoy myself, learn a little bit more about energy and even grounding yourself. How I can use this as an additional, training experiment to be grounded in the middle of downtown LA, like in some space. but also to feel some positivity from some of those regions, the grid, if you will, where there are many people that congregate, especially when I've, talked about urban living and the grid in a negative sense. Ultimately, I'm looking for new change. Okay. I think I have a spot out there in the world where I can be reaching and connecting with more people. To be isolated in a 10 by 12 full time is okay. It's a bit much to handle. So I've decided annual trips is the medicine that I need to even really keep it going, keep the juices flowing, keep the creativity, keep the depression at bay, seasonal affective disorder, isolation disorder. And honestly, I go around to my town and the next town over. I am an outsider, and that is just that. If I want to feel like a sense of openness, I got to travel. I got to be willing to travel. And if oil still does exist, if technology still does exist, if planes, trains, and automobiles still do exist, if World War III has why shouldn't I travel? Why shouldn't I smell the flowers? Why shouldn't I go hiking? Why shouldn't I do those things? Sure, certain events are still on the table where X marks the spot in the red zone. No pun intended. Or was there a pun intended? When does anyone just say, hey, you know what? Pun intended, by the way. So yeah, I mean, it's a good time to be alive. It's a good time to be alive. So if you have contacts there, if you want to do introductions, email, of course. Interviews would be great. I would love to bring you some guys, you guys and gals, some interviews. Maybe even some exclusive content over on demand. Who knows? Who knows what can happen? Maybe I'm just there to sightsee. But let me know. Alex_Ansary@hotmail.com or alexansary6@gmail.com. And let me know what else is going on up the coast of California and how I can be of service. Alex Ansary here. Subscribe if you're new. Support to my road trip if you can. I'll be back with more.